Hello everyone, welcome back. So let's talk about variables or local variables. So we all know about variables and local variables and what we are going to discuss here. Because when we talk about the lambda, okay, lambda it's kind of anonymous functions, right? Because even inside the lambda function we can define or declare a variables, right? So how it is going to be differentiate difference between the normal local variable and how it is going to work with the local variable and other things, right? So let's take a look at it. The first thing, lambdas are allowed to use the local variables in case if I have a local variable and if I'm writing another line with the lambdas expression, I can use the local variable. But one important thing is you're not allowed to modify. Okay, that functionality is called as effective final. I'll tell you what is effective final later, okay? So when we are not allowed to modify the local variable inside the lambda function, obviously it's the effective way of programming when we go for the concurrency operations because there is no other way you will be able to modify the variable again and again, right? And then in the class level variable, or you can call them as an instance variable, those are allowed to modify inside the lambda expressions. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, effectively final. So what does that mean? Because inside the lambda expression, I'm not going to define anything in as a final or out in the local variable. I'm not defining the variable as a final variable. But still, inside the lambda expression, you cannot use a local variable. That particular concept is called as a effectively final, even though it is not declared as a final. Okay, let's open a simple program and we'll see how this particular thing is looks like. Let me open a IDE. Okay, let me open JDeveloper. Sorry, Eclipse. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to create a new class here. So I can call them as a lambda lambda local variable. So I need to have a main method. Okay, so before we jump into what is local variable, I mean the entire concept, let's refresh what is local variable. Okay, this is a method. Okay, so if any variable, if you declare inside the method, for example in I is equal to 0, this particular variable is belongs to, sorry, int I is equal to 0. So this particular variable belongs to this particular method. So it is local to this method. We cannot use it outside. So this is called as a local variable. Okay, and if you define something outside of the class, like string x is equal to hello. Okay, this is under class level, or you can say instance level. So this is a class level variable or instance variable. Okay, let's apply our restrictions or see how the restrictions with the lambda. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to create a variable here like okay, I have a local variable here and I'm going to write a lambda expression here. So I'm going to create a consumer, so integer, so c1 equal to, okay, so my variable name is going to be I, and I'm going to print this out. Value is I. Have you noticed it is keep saying error message, right? Because the reason is lambda expression parameter I, right? We cannot use this, or you cannot name the same I again because we already defined the I in the local variable, right? So what you can do is you can give some different names that will work. but you cannot have the I again. But since I make a change here, I modified the input variable to j, but I'm not getting any error, but still I'm able to use the I here. That means I'm not allowed to use the same variable name here, but I can use the value. But the second rule is you're not allowed to modify it. Okay, let's just simply run this and see. Okay, so c1 dot accept. Let me pass 15. Okay, let's run this. Run as Java application. See, why the value is 0? Because I kept the value 0 here only, right? Okay, so I didn't use this particular value at all. So what I'm gonna do is, let me make just a value 10. Okay, so let's run this. So it is working. We haven't done much anything. Okay, so let's open a body here. So I just opened a body. What I'm gonna do is I'm trying to modify the value. For example, I have I is equal to 10, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to modify, or you can simply try to increment the value. Okay, so let's do that. I plus plus. See what happened here? Local variable I defined an enclosing scope must be final or effective final. This is called effective final. This particular I'm not declared the variable as a final, but still I'm not able to modify the value inside the lambda expression. This concept called is effectively final. Okay, so we know that I can use a local variable, but I cannot modify the data, right? So if you want, what you can do is maybe we can modify something like this. So because I never use the 15 here, right? Or the 10. So I have a 10 here. So you can simply put an operation here like I plus that incoming data. So now you can run the data, run the program. See, now you got the data. Value is 25 because the 15 is I passed for the consumer and 10 is from my local variable. Okay, that is the first thumb rule. Okay, so next thing, the second rule, or the second important rule is, as I said, the class level variable are allowed to modify. Okay, let me create another variable here like I'm going to create a static variable because I'm going to use the variable inside the static method, right? So static int, I'm going to use a k. So I'm keeping it as a 0 now. Okay, so let's print that value. So print k. So run this. You can see k is 0. Okay, so we haven't do anything. Let's try to modify the value of k inside the lambda expression. So k is equal to 25, so, or 15. So initially my k value is 15, 0. So now I updated to 15, but now we're not getting any errors here because it's not a local variable. I'm using an instance variable or the class level variable. Let's run this now. Initially my output was k is equal to 0 and my value is 25. Let's run this again and see. See, now the value got updated. I'm able to update the class level variables inside the lambda expression. You're allowed to do that. Just keep two things in your mind. Local variables can be used inside lambda expression, but not allowed to modify them. The other scenario, the class level variables we are allowed to use inside the lambda expression, and also we are allowed to edit them or update them. Okay, so we came to end of this particular video. We'll see each other in the next video. Thank you.